We've sewn our blocks together. Now let's go sew our quilt together. Okay, so we've sewn all of our blocks. Now it's time to sew our quilt together. So I have one block. Now these are huge. They're really big. So we only have 6 of them, which is going to make this whole quilt to come together super fast. We're just going to lay one pretty side on top of the other one. So we have one pretty side face up, one pretty side face down. We're going to line up our seams. Now you remember when we are sewing, we want our seams to match. I don't care what you have to do. Pinch it, pleat it, or pull it. Just make sure your seams match. We're going to sew this with a straight stitch, a 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when we start and when we stop, because my grandma said so. These are the 28-inch blocks that we made the other day, but the rules are the same no matter what size your blocks are. Okay, our blocks are 28 inches wide. So we've just sewn 2 of those together. What's that, 56? So that makes our quilt 56 inches wide. And then they are, well, Tammy, they're 28 inches, 28 by 28. So we've got 28 inches wide. We've sewn 2 of them together. Now we're going to sew 2 of them together 2 more times because we have 6 blocks total. 2, 2, and 2. We're going to sew the next 2 together just like we sewed the first 2 together. And it wouldn't matter if we had 45 blocks. We would still sew them all together exactly the same way. Now, you'll notice in a minute, my math is not great. It's 28 times 3, which is actually 84 inches, but I keep calling it 80 inches, which is, you know, close enough, I guess. Okay, so now we've sewn 6 blocks, 2, 2, and 2. Now it's time to sew them together. Before we sew this, we need to iron all 3 sets down this middle seam because we want our work to look good, and ironing makes it look a whole lot better, I promise. I don't love to iron either. Well, actually, that's not true. I don't mind ironing. I don't want to iron my clothes, but I do not mind ironing something that I'm making that is beautiful. This is my ironing situation. Heat resistant pad, wool mat, Oliso Mini Pro 3 iron, all linked in my Amazon and Walmart storefronts if you're looking for them. Okay, we've sewn all of our 2s together. We've ironed those. Now we're going to sew our 2s to each other. So then I'm going to sew this and I'll have 4, and then I'm going to open it up and sew the last one and I'll have 6, and then we're going to look at it. We're going to sew it just like we did the first one. Straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when we start and when we stop, because my grandma said so. And y'all make sure your seams match, because if it gets off a teeny tiny bit by the time you get to the bottom, you have one row that's 2 inches shorter than the other. Ask me how I know. And when I say pinch it, pleat it, or pull it, I literally mean pinch it, pleat it, or pull it. Okay, our quilt is basically 56 by 80. A twin is 64 by 96, or that's the size we make them here. And if you were in my sewing class, I wouldn't let you leave with something smaller than a twin. So a twin is just a good size. It's easy to wash, easy to store. It's big enough to fold up if you have a little one, or for my husband and I to snuggle up on the couch and watch a movie, or for me and both little ladies. It's just a good size. It's not too small, not too big. But let's pretend you were my sewing student. You had this quilt and you were 80 inches wide and 56 inches wide, 80 inches long. So you would need 16 inches in the length and 8 inches in the width. So what we would do is put a border or 2. So let's say you need 8 inches. You really only need 4 on each side. So you could do a 1.5 and a 3.5 inch border. You can do any combination, but I would put a border or 2 so that it ended up big enough, because the last thing you want is to take home this precious treasure you just made and say, if only it were 8 inches larger. So I love the twin size. It is my favorite. It's what I recommend all of my students make for their very first quilt. Now, if they want to make something bigger than that, I'm here for it. But I hardly ever have a student who makes something smaller than that, because every time I would let one of them, I let them talk me into it. I say, okay, we'll do it. And they always say, I wish I would have listened to you. I wish it was bigger. And so I recommend and I encourage my students to make this size to start with, and then any size after that. Now I get to quilt this one. First I have to pick a back, and you know, that's a big decision too. My name is Tammy. I'm your favorite sewing teacher, and I would love for you to come sew with me.